I've come out to the town of Grantham to take a few photos, to find out a bit more about the place and to just have a look at the lives of the people that did live here. They've got a couple of famous residents that I want to find out a bit more about. Despite its sleepy nature, Grantham has produced two of the most famous Britons ever. One of them is possibly the most intelligent person that ever lived, and another one was one of the most infamous politicians of the 20th century. And I aim to try to find out a bit more of both of these people and to capture some pictures to show the essence of who they were. The town has erected statues of their famous people, and one of them here is Sir Isaac Newton. The other statue in the town is that of Lady Thatcher, which at the time it was erected was deemed quite controversial by the media in the UK. But I think the local inhabitants have warmed to it and quite like it, despite the fact that when it was put up it was pelted with eggs and painted. All those sorts of things have stopped now, and obviously people have accepted the statue for what it is. I aim to try to take a picture of this statue. I'm not sure how I'm going to do it. I'm going to have a look around and find out what the best composition is, especially with it being so high. I'm not sure whether to go right up close to it and then get the sky in the background, or get a further back picture, but by doing so you lose detail. I'm going to have a look round and see what the best option is, and I'll obviously hopefully take you through that process. Because the light's coming from over there, I've decided to try and take a picture from this angle and try to get the light on the side of this statue to try to bring it out and bring it to life a bit, and that's what I'm going to try and do now. That's the first picture in the bag, and we'll see how that looks like. This isn't such a bad angle, but because the light is still low in the sky, the statue of Lady Thatcher is not illuminated and she looks dark against the background of the building behind. I'm going to take a shot from here, see how that comes out, and I'll show you what that looks like. I might have to alter it in post-processing to bring out the statue and reduce the highlights in the background. Margaret Hilda Roberts was born in an upstairs room in that house there, which was her father's grocery store in 1925. Her father was a Methodist minister and eventually the mayor of Grantham, and little did he know that in 1925, when his daughter was born, she would be the one that has the statue in the centre of town and not him. What I'm going to do is use the Nikon D5000 and try to take a photo of where Margaret Thatcher was born. I'm not sure about the best image, but the one we're looking at now is the one that often gets shown on TV. I'm going to f5.6, 1/30 of a second, and base ISO, which is 100. Grantham started out life originally as a Saxon settlement and then naturally became part of an area known as the Danelaw, which was ruled by the Vikings in the late 1st century. It's a surprise in one way that it's not bigger than it is, because its communications are amazing. It's on the Great North Road, it's on the East Coast Main Line, it's a stop on the East Coast Main Line, but it's also on the River Witham, which runs throughout Lincolnshire, from the north of Lincolnshire through Lincoln and then down out through the Wash. So it's got a great potential for being an amazing place. But of course it has got some much bigger neighbours, because just 23 miles to the north of Grantham you have Lincoln, and 22 miles to the west of Grantham you have Nottingham. So it does have a few challenges when it comes to growing as a town. And just south of Grantham you have Stamford, which is just a beautiful sort of town in its own right. At the heart of Grantham is St Wolfram's Church, and you can imagine in their day both Thatcher and Newton probably attended this church at some time in their lives, if not on a regular basis. What I love about this view of the church are these houses beside it and this path leading up to the church and the front facade. And what I'm going to do is try and get a picture of this now. I know the light is never perfect, but it's going to be good enough for me, and I think it's going to make a really, really nice photo. The trick is to try to find the right composition. Am I too close? Am I too far? Is it best to be left or right? You have all the same challenges when you take your photos. To get the full spire in, I'm having to get really close to these buildings here, these lovely houses with their nice growing plants, and I'm having to go for widest I can. It's 18mm on this camera, and hopefully that will get me all of the church in and this side of these houses, at least a bit. The doors have just opened, and obviously now there's people milling around, so I'm going to have to pick my time when there's fewer people in there. What I'll also do is I'll go into the church and have a quick look and do a little bit of video inside the church. Hopefully I can get some shots and give you an idea what the inside of this church looks like. As always, I'll take a few different shots and try to get a nice view of this little area. There doesn't seem to be anyone here, which is amazing. I'm not sure I should be using a tripod, so I'm going to be quick. And I really like that little figure there in the foreground and the lovely glass window in the background. I think that looks amazing, so I'm going to give it a try now and see what I can do with that shot. Let's see what that one comes out like. Sir Isaac Newton was born on Christmas Day 1842, and he was possibly the most intelligent human being that has ever lived. And he was educated here in Grantham at King's School just behind me. The scientific breakthroughs that Newton discovered were immense, not only at the time that he discovered them, but they still hold true and they still provide the basis of science today. Not only did he develop the laws of motion, but he also understood that colour was a property of light. Even more than that, of course, he sort of discovered gravity, the gravitational pull of the earth, and there were so many more things. And did you know that it was Newton that discovered that the earth wasn't round, it was a spheroid that was flatter at the top and the bottom? It's amazing when you look back over 400 years, the science that was being done in those days and by Newton himself. To get a decent picture of the school that Newton went to, I think I'll take a shot looking down this road. I've got this wall down here which will act as a nice leading line, and all right, there's no sun, there's no light on the building, but I think that'll be okay, and hopefully it'll come out as a nice picture. So I'll try that now and we can have a look at it. It's still an impressive little building, an impressive school nonetheless, and it's obviously historic, it's famous. Thanks very much indeed for watching. I hope my view of Grantham and its famous citizens is interesting to you, and maybe you learned something. It's certainly really interesting to me, and I hope you've enjoyed the photography and the photos that I've taken with the Nikon, and also I've used my Olympus too. If you like this video, why not give it a like? That would be wonderful. And if you like this sort of content, the photography content and all these things I'm doing, why not subscribe to the channel? It's super free, it doesn't cost you anything, you don't have to pay, it's just a click of a button. And if you did, I'd really appreciate it. Thank you very much indeed for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Cheerio.